Samuel's fingers froze over the telegraph key. When he decoded the message, his blood ran cold. Kill Samuel Brooks tomorrow at sunset. Stop, make it look accidental. Stop 24 hours. Only 24 hours remained. But Samuel didn't know yet that the wire used to send that message was his own machine. The killer wasn't just close. They could be in the same building, the same room. Samuel Brooks, 32 years old. For 5 years, the only telegraph operator in Copper Creek town. Quiet, reliable, a man with no enemies. Or so he thought, because someone wanted him dead. And now he had until sunset to find out who, or he would die. Samuel Brooks, 32 years old. For 5 years, the only telegraph operator in Copper Creek town. Quiet, reliable, a man with no enemies. Or so he thought, because someone wanted him dead, and now he had until sunset to find out who, or he would die. Worse yet, the wire number the message came from was a local line, meaning the person who hired the killer lived in Copper Creek. Samuel hastily gathered the papers. He had to save these messages. They could be evidence. But just then, there was a knock at the door. "Are we open, Samuel?" A familiar voice. Sheriff Morrison. Samuel was sweating. Could he trust Morrison, or was he the one? "It's late, John. Is there a problem?" Morrison came inside. "Got a strange report. Someone saw suspicious activity at the telegraph station." Samuel froze. What kind of activity? "Don't know, maybe a false alarm." Morrison's eyes were scanning Samuel. "Did you see anything?" "Number just routine messages." Morrison nodded. "All right, be careful, Samuel. Strange things have been happening lately." After Morrison left, Samuel was panicking. How did Morrison get here so fast? It was like he'd been waiting. Could Morrison be the one trying to kill him? Samuel reread the messages. Were there other clues? Then he noticed the message timestamp, 23:47. Morrison came at 23:55. 8 minutes. Impossible. If he'd really received a report, it would take at least half an hour. So Morrison was already here, waiting. But Samuel didn't know that Morrison had also received a different threat message at the same time. "If we don't get rid of Brooks, we'll all burn." Samuel began making a plan. He couldn't stay here until dawn, but where would he go? He could take the train to Denver, but the train left at 8 a.m. Too much could happen by then. Or he could go up to the mountains, hide, but he'd die of thirst there. Then he remembered. Mary O'Connor, the only lawyer in town. He could trust her. Samuel locked the door and climbed out the back window. The streets were empty, but shadows were moving. When he reached Mary's house, it was 2 a.m. He tapped on the window. "Mary, it's Samuel. I need help." Mary opened with slappy eyes. "Samuel, what happened? I need to come in. They're trying to kill me." Mary was shocked, but let him in. "What did you say?" Samuel showed her the messages. Mary read them and her face went white. Is this real?" "It's real. And there are 18 hours left." Mary was thinking. "Samuel, what have you done lately? Who might you have angered?" "Nothing. I'm just a telegraph operator. But maybe you heard something important." "Mary," said Samuel, "last week a message came. It was like a bank transfer, but strange." "How strange?" "A large amount of money was being transferred from Springfield Bank, but the target account was Mexican Bank." Mary's eyes widened. "How large?" $50,000, and the transfer owner was Judge Whitman. "Judge Whitman? But he's an honest man." Samuel shook his head. "Or so it seems. Maybe he was stealing that money. Mary stood up. Samuel, you saw evidence about a judge embezzling court funds. You're the only person who could expose him. Everything was becoming clear. Judge Whitman was stealing court funds. Samuel had unknowingly seen the evidence. But I didn't tell anyone. Doesn't matter. You're a threat. They need to silence you. Just then, footsteps came from outside. Very light, very careful. Mary whispered, "Someone's coming." Samuel looked out the window. 3 men were surrounding the house. They had guns in their hands. "Mary, do you have a back exit?" "Yes." But someone might have come there too. And that's when Samuel understood this wasn't just a death threat. This was a professional operation. The door was being forced. Samuel and Mary were trapped. "Mary, do you have a gun in your house?" "My father's old rifle." "Get it, and paper, and pen." Mary was surprised. "What are you doing?" "Writing everything down. Whitman's actions, the transfer messages, today's events. At least the truth will be known." Samuel began writing quickly. Sounds came from outside. "Brooks, come out, let's talk." Samuel recognized the voice. It was Sheriff Morrison. Samuel approached the window. "Morrison, are you there too?" "Samuel, you've misunderstood. We just want to talk." "What talk?" "The talk about killing me." "Samuel, you know things. Whitman's business." Samuel was now certain. Morrison was also a conspirator. "Yes, I know, and everyone will know." Samuel handed the paper to Mary. "Keep this. If anything happens to me, take it to the federal sheriff in Denver." The back door was also being forced. Samuel and Mary went upstairs. "Can we get to the roof?" "Yes, but then what will we do?" "We'll hide until morning, then the train." They climbed onto the roof. The town slept below, but there was no sleep for them. At 5:30, the men left the house. Samuel and Mary seemed safe. "What now?" asked Mary. "Now we get on the train and deliver this file to the federal sheriff." 7:45 a.m. The train would leave in 5 minutes. Samuel and Mary had bought their tickets, but just as they were boarding the train, Morrison appeared. "Samuel, stop!" Samuel ran. Mary followed behind. "Stop, Brooks! You can't escape." Samuel jumped onto the train. So did Mary. The train began to move. Morrison made one last move. He drew his gun, but the train was already accelerating. 3 days later, federal sheriffs came to Copper Creek. Thanks to Samuel's documents, Judge Whitman was caught. He had stolen $50,000. Morrison and his 2 men were also conspirators. Samuel had become a hero, but he just thought he'd been lucky. 24 hours, he said to Mary. "Our lives changed in 24 hours. Mary smiled, and we found each other. Samuel smiled too. Maybe these bad 24 hours were the best 24 hours of his life. Sometimes danger is the only way to reveal the truth. Samuel Brooks didn't just survive, he also ensured justice. Because 24 hours is enough to change a life. If this story created adrenaline in your bloodstream, if you love stories of racing against time and fighting injustice, subscribe to our channel, because in the Wild West, every second is a matter of life and death. See you in the next thrilling story. May time always be on your side.